Okay, I'm going to start with our final polls. Okay.
Oh.
So our final polls for all of you watching the recording. How clear are you on your target market now? We did a lot of really good target market work on last week's office hours. Super powerful. Okay. Where are you still fuzzy? Okay, so this is an opportunity. This is open-ended. Who should be coming? I'm just looking at that thing. Oh, here's Jody. Oh, 501. She's lucky I like her. Okay, where are you still fuzzy? So if there's anything you're still fuzzy about, drop it in there. Because maybe I can cover some of that so those of you who missed it, what I would have typically taught you today, I'm going to record for you. Okay, because I don't want you to miss the scripts. They're super important. So if you're still fuzzy about something, put it in there, and then I'll see if I can work it into this week's training. The rest of them, I will just let you read. The fuzzy one is optional. If you're not fuzzy, you don't have to make something up. And it's anonymous, so please be honest. No need to blow smoke. I'm not easily offended. If you're on the phone and the poll is hard to fill out, my apologies. Carol, I see you. You're doing good.
I pulled over to do it.
You're the best.
While I was driving. I'm in the Walmart parking lot. It's not
All
a
right.
safe place to try to text.
All right, we got 9 out of 15 in, 60%, a couple more minutes. Take your time. This data is really important to me as I work to make it better, right, for upcoming book clubs. All right, 5 left. Drop it in there if you're not going to fill it out, which is totally fine, just so that we're not waiting. Drop it in the chat for me. All right, one more minute because I've got one more thing to chat about before Ferny comes on.
Allie, I'm hoping you're going to tell us about your offer.
Yes. So, okay, so Ferny's in the waiting room. So he's 4 minutes early. I'm gonna hold him there. Okay, so while the rest of you are finishing, what I'm gonna do is, so I can see that there are lots of you interested in looking at the course. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop a 30-minute calendar link in the chat. I want to chat with each one of you individually to make sure that the course matches your goals. Okay. So I'm going to launch not next week. I'm going to hold next week. So the rest of this week and next week for calls, I'm going to launch the week after. Okay. My promise to you is that the first 6 modules will be done, and then I'll be adding 3 or 4 modules every week. I don't want to wait until all 22 modules are done because I want you to get started now. I'll just stay ahead of you. Okay. So pick up that link and schedule a call. Even there's some of you here that are 4s and 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, some 10s. Even if you're a 4, and if it's not a sales call, you know me, I'm not salesy. I just want to chat about your goals, show you what I'm doing, and see if it's a good match. Okay, so pick up that link. And there's still 3 of you that have not completed the questionnaire. Are you still working? Put your hand up if you're still working for me so I can see. I can't see everyone's thing, so I don't know if everyone's okay. I'm going to end it and we're going to go through it. Okay, let's share results and then we'll let Ferny in. Okay. How clear are you in your target market? We got a couple 5s, not awful. Okay. But some 7s, 8s, and 10s. If you were all 10s, I would be shocked because as Jody knows, the target market work takes forever and ever and ever, and more than probably one hot seat. Okay. So those of you who got on hot seats, my guess is you're in the 7, 8, and 10 range. There'll be more opportunities. This is really fundamental, which is why I keep asking where you are with it. View details. We've got some fuzzy things. Okay, I'm going to look at the fuzzy things later and see what I can work into this week's training. How interested are you? We've got some 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, a couple 10s. Okay, so if you just want to have a chat, pick up that link and schedule. Okay, the offer is $299 a month as one of the offers. That's pretty much all the course and 8 training sessions a week that you can tap into. Okay, if you just want the course and you don't want the training, $99 a month. If you want the course and the training and some one-on-one time with me, it'll be, baby, what did we say? What did we figure out? $599 a month? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna have that all sorted. But the $299 a month right now is a great option for most of you. Okay, 8 hours of training a week plus the course, and that should do you. That should get you through pretty much it'll get you where you want to be, making online sales weekly. Okay. How helpful? Okay. 7s, 8s, and 10s. Brilliant. And then how likely are you to recommend 6, 7s, 8s, and 10s? Not awful. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and let Ferny in because I'm so excited. Let's let him in. Oh, I should let him in because it's 10 after.
Hello.
Hello, Ferny, and welcome. How are you?
Wow, this is a party.
It's a party, man. The guest of honor has arrived.
How's it going, everybody?
Everyone's
What
good?
what did I miss?
You missed housekeeping. You missed a very exciting entry poll. Very exciting.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. Ferny, I don't want to assume that everyone knows who you are. I know that they have questions, but would you take a few minutes and properly introduce yourself to the crew?
Absolutely. So I was born on a Thursday. Just kidding.
Faster than that, brother. Faster than that.
So I am a co-founder of attractionmarketing.com. It's weird to say that I'm the co-founder because I was actually a student before I was a founder of this company. And that sounds weird, but that's because, well, it used to be called something else. So the company that I'm an owner in was owned by my two mentors, Mike Dillard and Tim Irway. And there was a transition that happened around 2014 where I was invited to merge my business into my training company into their business. And one of them retired from network marketing. And so when that transition happened is when the company was rebranded and ultimately became known as attractionmarketing.com, which made me a co-founder, even though I'm not one of the founders of the company. Kind of weird, huh? Anyway, so you know, I share that because I'm a student. I'm a product of what we do here. I started in network marketing back in 2005, building belly to belly the traditional way, home parties, home meetings. I was pretty good at it. I did not like building it that way, but it was a means to an end. I was actually tricked into network marketing. I was tricked into a meeting. You know, it's one of those where you're invited to a meeting, you have no idea what it's about. You think it's one thing and it turns out to be another. And I hated everything about network marketing and what was, you know, introduced to me that evening, except for the fact, the idea about creating financial freedom, time freedom. And I was looking desperately for a way out of my job. I was a aerospace engineer. I did not enjoy that job, even though you know, if I tell you I worked on top secret space programs for the government, it sounds cool, but it actually wasn't very interesting to me. So that's the most interesting part is saying that I worked on top secret space programs for the government. So I didn't enjoy my job. So network marketing offered the only thing anyone had ever offered me as a way out. I built really well traditionally, but I eventually burned out. And not only that, my team was not willing to do what I was willing to do. And then they all end up quitting, and I'm pretty much left as the last man standing. And that's when I found my mentors, Mike Dillard and Tim Irway, and they introduced me to this concept called attraction marketing. It was a fundamentally different philosophy and way of building. You know, traditional network marketing is really more about sales. These are sales skills. You know, as much as people will deny that network marketing is selling, it absolutely is selling, especially if you're building more traditionally. Prospecting is a sales skill. Follow-up is a sales skill. Objection handling is a sales skill. So those are sales skills that are being taught effectively or ineffectively to people. Attraction marketing is a marketing skill set. It's a different from sales. And there's a quote by Peter Drucker, who's a world famous entrepreneur. He says the whole point of marketing is to make sales superfluous, and superfluous meaning unnecessary. So if you market effectively, if you know how to market, the sales part of what you do actually is the easiest part, getting somebody enrolled. And so I really liked that idea, and I preferred it much more than doing home parties and home meetings and driving around town. And so I got really good at it. Within 2 years of finding this information, I was able to quit my job, became a six-figure earner in my company, ultimately ended up creating one of the largest residual income checks in that company. And I did it all online from my computer. Back then, attraction marketing had nothing to do with social media. It was it looked very different. It was mainly advertising and funnels and websites. And today it's been adapted for social media. Social media has actually made what we do a lot more accessible to people. So now that you see all these influencers and network marketing that are online and seemingly omnipresent all over social media, it's because 90% of them are students, or the students of our students, or the students of our students' students. But that's basically what they're doing is marketing. They've adapted the original philosophy of attraction marketing and they've applied it to social media. And now it's being applied to different systems and automation and AI, which is it's an exciting time for network marketing because I think there's things that are going to become very accessible to people uh, that are not technical, that are not programmers, that are not tech savvy in any way, and it's going to become easier and easier for that type of person to start doing things that you previously needed some sort of tech background to do. And AI is going to make it a lot easier to do those things. So the mission of what I do and what we do at Attraction Marketing is to stay on the cutting edge of what's possible in terms of building a network marketing business in the most cutting edge, most leveraged, and if possible, the most automated way possible. And our students love that because ultimately the reason they started in network marketing is for time freedom. And so the more leverage and automation you can create, the more time you can recoup while still allowing your business to grow. So I'll say the last thing about attraction marketing when I became an owner, my mentor and I, when we partnered up, committed to making attraction marketing not just a training company, but a mentorship company. And it's not about just selling courses. It's about creating an environment that would allow people to thrive. And that's attributed mainly because I'd say the most extraordinary things or the things I've done in my life that I'm most proud of came as a direct result of being in a structured mentorship environment. I'm a graduate from MIT, and that is a very difficult school to get into, difficult school to go through. I went to school with some of the most brilliant engineers, scientists, et cetera, in the world. But the crazy thing about MIT that people don't know is that they have an extremely high graduation rate. And once you get in, they do not want you to drop out. And they do everything possible to make sure that you graduate. And so they have this multi-layered approach and accountability to make sure that if you start struggling, if you start having a difficult time, that there's something to catch you and interrupt that fall, and they can help you pick yourself back up either through one-on-one mentoring, group coaching, office hours, et cetera, et cetera. If you have mental health issues, they have resources there. If you have, if you are homesick, they have student groups to like plug you into that are more like home, et cetera, et cetera. And so it was fascinating. And they also brainwash the crap out of you to make you believe that you're the best in the world. So you come out of there feeling like you can conquer the world, but they create an environment that does everything possible not allow you to fail. Now there's still people that drop out. Like if you do run away and hide, obviously they're not going to go chase you. But as long as you're willing to try and work, they support you. And so I graduated from there as a result of that environment. I have a black belt in martial arts, and things that I once thought would be impossible for me to do physically became possible. And they only became possible not because I envisioned it or because I said, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to do that. It's because that was an environment where my mentors, my teachers, my master believed in me more than I believed in myself and held me accountable to their standards, not my standards. And ultimately, I became a world champion martial artist as a result of it. It's like I didn't buy into the idea that I was a champion until I became a champion. And that was because of the structured mentorship and accountability. And then finally in my business, I struggled for 2 years, even building online, spent upwards of $90,000 buying all types of different courses from different people to learn this world of digital marketing. But it wasn't until I invested with a mentor who was not cheap. He was a 7-figure earner. He was the only person at the time that offered any type of coaching or mentorship program. That concept was non-existent back then in the online world. He charged $60,000 for mentoring directly with himself. I bought into that, and 9 months later, things that were beyond my wildest dreams came true. I had my first $700,000 income month 9 months into that mentorship program with him. And again, it's like I didn't envision that. It wasn't on my vision board to make 700,000 in a single month. It happened because my potential was unlocked as a result of the accountability and sometimes just a mentor kind of going like this to you and going, you're on the right track, keep going, can accelerate your progress and help you move faster and with more confidence. There are people in the world that you give them a book to read and they'll read it and then they'll implement and they'll crush whatever they read in the book, or they'll go through a course and they have this superhuman ability. Well, they'll go through the course and go got it and run with it and make millions of dollars doing that. You see them, they're the Bill Gates, Elon Musk of the world, Steve Jobs. I am not one of those people. And so for the people that aren't savants in that way, I can identify because I'm like that. And so for everybody else that is not that outlier, our programs and what I envision what we do is kind of like what MIT, my martial arts master and my business mentor did for me, is give me the environment that will allow me to thrive where on my own I would not have been able to. So I think that kind of summarizes what we do and what I do.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for that, Ferny. I've heard multiple pieces of that story over the years that I've been with attraction marketing, but it never fails to inspire because it truly is a remarkable journey that you've been on. And your presence tonight is not lost. The opportunity is not lost on any of us here. And I want to open the floor for anyone who has pressing questions for Ferny. Give me a hand raise because I can see y'all. Jody, go ahead. And then Betsy. Unmute, love.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I might as well do it because I'm in attraction marketing, Ferny, and I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. And I thought, well, if I've got him, I'm going to ask him a question. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to share my screen.
Sure.
Okay, so, whoops, what happened here? Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so this was module 3, my problem set for module 3, and I just wanted to tell you my target market statement that I keep working on, and I think I've finally kind of honed it to what I want it to be. And that is, I help women over 40 living with lingering exhaustion, inflammation, weight gain, and pain move with ease and experience mental clarity and vibrant energy again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then my reboot post, my Facebook reboot post, which a lot of people on this call probably don't know what that is, because we haven't gotten there. But so it is for my health focused friends. For the last year or so, I've been super focused on learning what causes chronic pain and inflammation, especially since I had been suffering from a chronic health condition for over 2 years. I didn't really talk about it because I was ashamed I couldn't figure out a solution. I've been researching like crazy and have learned a ton about reducing pain and inflammation naturally, increasing energy, how toxins cause inflammation and actually prevent you from losing weight, and about how our bodies are designed to repair and regenerate when given the right tools. I'll be sharing some of my journey and extra info here on my profile and doing a few special lives or trainings on things I have learned. If you are curious and want to get a head start, put toxins in the comments and I'll be in touch via Messenger.
Great. Excellent. Well done. Is there something in particular you want me to?
Well, I just wanted your
feedback on?
opinion because I did one before and it was like, oh, I got to do this, that. So I finally honed it down, and I just honed it down yesterday. And I thought I have a chance to have Ferny look at my stuff. So
Yeah, it's a great start. I love it. I would just run with this as
Okay.
is, and because
Okay.
you're going to be constantly going through an iterative process over the
Right.
course of your journey, and so you don't want to be perfect, be the enemy of good,
Right.
as the saying goes.
Right.
And so the only thing I might think of is, and you might already have it, there's, some of our students are touching on some of these issues, like they, in their target market statement, they talk about, exhaustion, inflammation, weight gain,
Mm-hmm.
and but they also reference some sort of root cause.
Mm-hmm.
They introduce a root cause that maybe the target audience either is aware of or unaware of, but the root cause kind of causes people to go, oh, that's the reason I haven't been able to do X. Like, for example, high cortisol levels is a very common
Right.
thing. Like when you have high cortisol, it does a number of things, but it locks in weight, so it's hard to lose
Right.
weight unless your cortisol
Right.
levels come down. And so, but people might not know that.
Right.
And so, so when in addition to helping people lose weight or reduce inflammation, you do it by helping them lower cortisol, which is locking in weight or locking in whatever. So I think for you that cause might be toxins.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so
And it was for me.
so
Yeah.
then I would put toxins in somewhere in the target market statement,
Oh,
so that
okay.
when someone reads it, it causes them to go, huh, maybe that's the reason I can't lose weight, or maybe that's the reason I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Toxins, I never thought about that. I never thought about the idea of detoxifying.
Right.
So but you have to do it together with the problem. So you have to mention the problems and the result that they want, but then also in the middle is like the thing that the culprit that they didn't think of, or maybe already were suspicious, is
Mm-hmm.
in your case like toxins.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
detoxing, it's going to allow you to do these other things.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Now I got to figure out how to word that.
Might be
So-
toxic overload, Jody.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'll.
I help women with toxic overload, or something like that, or I help
Mhm.
women dealing with these issues due to toxic overload move with ease. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
Use that due to this thing. Now they don't know what toxic overload is. That's
Right.
okay. They know what
Mhm.
what exhaustion, inflammation, and weight gain and pain is. They
Mm-hmm.
know what moving with ease is. They may not know what toxic overload is, but that's where you're almost like revealing the root cause that they didn't think of.
Right.
And if they are aware of it, then they'll be with you anyway.
Exactly. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. Now I have one other question while I got you here. And that is when they send me, and I was going to ask Allie this, but when they send me toxins, I don't know what's the next thing I do. Like I have all these things I could do, and I'm not sure the first thing to send them, or do I schedule a meeting with them, or I don't know.
This is one, definitely re-engage in your acceleration curriculum, because
Okay. That's
the answers
answers
are all,
there. Okay.
the answers are all in there.
Okay.
But I'll give you a very simple answer that yeah, it sounds basic, but it's very powerful. Ask questions.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Ask them.
And Allie said that last week. Yeah.
Ask them about their situation. Ask
Mhm.
them, hey, I'm curious what's happening in your life. How come, what compelled you to respond to my post? I just want to understand, before I make a recommendation, I want to understand your situation a little better.
Okay.
Make sure this is right for you. Something like that. The more questions you ask about their problem, the more motivation you're creating for them to do something about their problem.
Yeah.
And so this is this is like the lowest, easiest way to do what salespeople do in their sales process that's very scripted.
Yes.
So what I'm encouraging here is don't use a scripted process, just get really curious, but the result is the same. You'll see the best salespeople in the world ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
They're asking a lot of questions for a couple reasons. One is because they're trying to figure out what type of sales message to present to you, so that what they are going to offer feels as customized as possible. But the other reason they're asking questions is to create the motivation for you to want to do something about your problems. So the more you talk about your problems, the more you talk about the things you'd like to be able to have that you currently don't have, or the, what would you do if you no longer had pain or you no longer had this issue, the more people like answer those questions, the higher the likelihood they're going to want to do something about it.
Right.
Otherwise you're talking to a crazy person if they say no thank you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like imagine a
Yeah.
person, and we all have crazy people in our lives that they complain and whine about their problems. They tell you about all the things they'd love to change about their life, but then they're unwilling to do anything about it. Those are crazy people. You want to get away from them.
Yeah.
Sane people, after answering all those questions, will want to do something about their problem.
Right.
And so the only objection at that point that you would have after getting really curious and asking all these questions would be if they genuinely have some sort of financial objection, like they
Right.
literally can't afford it or it's kind of tight. And that's something if that's a true financial objection, that's something you can work with them
Yes. Yes.
on, and get their permission to work on that with them.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, if they answer all the questions, then they're going to feel heard and understood. So there's going to be trust. There's going to be obviously motivation. And you're also going to be in a better position to customize what you're going to recommend to them for their situation and
Exactly.
put it in the context of what they need. And so on the most basic level, that's like a very authentic sales skill set to have, is to know how to strategically ask questions. And in that way, you don't have to learn any scripts or anything like that. You just need
Right.
to know how to ask questions.
And I'm really good at that. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Well done. Betsy, you had your hand up. Do you have a question? And then Cynthia. Oh, you have to unmute, love.
There, this is a weird one. Next to your thing, Ferny, there is another post kind of that says FBI surveillance with the muted button. I've
Yeah,
never had on a Zoom before.
I have an ankle bracelet. I'm constantly being monitored.
Stop
just-
that.
No, that's my note taker. That's my AI note taker.
Oh,
I just gave it the name FBI surveillance to mess with people.
okay. Well, you got my attention. Thank you.
Yes. He likes to mess with us. It's part of the charm, actually.
Yeah.
Part of the charm. All right, Cynthia, you're up.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious, Fernie. I just love that. I too joined the attraction marketing acceleration. I haven't started, I'm still in the first module, and I have quite a bit to go. And I have two questions. One is really about you, and then the other one is more geared towards me. What in this journey that you have gone through, what do you think was one of the toughest lessons for you, something that you resisted, that you didn't want to go through, that you just like, man, it took me so long to break through that thing? And I'm just wondering if there is something, maybe not the most, but what was one of the hardest lessons or things that you resisted?
So good question.
Thanks.
I'll give you two things. One is I did this unconsciously, and later I realized the reason it worked. So we don't start off, especially if we've never been entrepreneurs, we've never had that type of success from a business. It's very reasonable and normal to go, oh, I hope this works out. That'd be nice. Hope this business works. To be very cautiously optimistic. And so that's how we think. And so we can't actually control our thoughts. So people that teach positive thinking, think positive thoughts, well, you can't will that into existence. You're going to think whatever you're conditioned to think. So wherever you're at in your life or level, whatever level of success you've created for yourself, was as a result of your current thoughts, your current mindset. But mindset is everything. Mindset is what defines where we're going to go. Our reality will expand or contract to our mindset. And so, but if our mindset is set to what we have today, then, generally for most people, then how do we like achieve, you know, 6-figure, 7-figure success if we have a mindset of where we're at now? And so the answer is you start behaving and doing the things that the person you want to become would do. So if you want to be a 6-figure earner, what decisions would a 6-figure earner make in that situation that you today would not normally make, and make that decision? So you know, when it comes to like it comes back to like the question, like if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? Like if you knew it was only a matter of time before you hit your 6-figure, multiple 6-figure or 7-figure goal, what would you do differently from what you're doing now? What investments would you make in yourself that you wouldn't make with how you think about the world right now? Not Cynthia today, because Cynthia, your mindset right now has gotten you where you are. Like everything you have around you is it's matching your mindset. But if you want to go play a bigger game, how you change your mindset is what you say to yourself, what you say to others, and what you do. When you do those things consistently and it runs counter to your mindset, but you keep doing them anyway, or especially if you're in an environment or a mentorship environment like what we provide, where you're with around other people that are doing the same thing, working on the same things, and you have accountability and support that kind of forces you to do things when you normally wouldn't do it on your own, or when you're just doing things that aren't very comfortable, but you do them anyway. The more you do that, eventually you're reprogramming your mind. So the way you reprogram your mind is from the outside in, not from the inside out. There's no amount of mindset work that you can do that's going to change your mindset as much as your behaviors, your actions, what you do externally. So that means what you say to others, and what you do, even if you don't believe it, even if you don't buy into it yet. If you behave as the person that you're looking to become, then eventually your mindset will catch up. And so when I tell a story about training in martial arts and not believing in myself whatsoever. And there was a tournament that I competed in where I basically visualized losing every single match. I expected to lose every single match in the tournament. And for some reason I won every single match, including the world championship match against somebody that I was for sure thought I was going to lose against. And I even visualized how I would lose against him. And it was like, talk about negative mindset, right? So how did I actually win? Well, it's because I was in an environment that no matter how I felt about myself, I trained like a champion. I was held accountable by my martial arts master teacher, and I was training around other people where I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to like not show up to class, and something I already said I would do, which is compete in the tournament. So I behaved and trained and prepared like a champion would, never saying out loud what I was thinking. What I was thinking was about losing. I was afraid to lose. I was all this fear, all this self-doubt. But my behavior was from that looking outside in, you'd think I was confident. You'd think I was like ready. You think like Ferny's gonna crush it, like because he's like put in the work, all this stuff. But up until that last moment where I actually won, I didn't believe I could win. But then when I won, is after that, no one can ever change my mindset. I had the mindset of a champion. I truly believed I can crush anybody that was put in front of me after that. So what it taught me is that your mindset is actually the last thing to go. Your mindset is the last thing to transform. It's your behaviors and actions that need to come first. And so that happened for me in network marketing. I worked on the business enough. I did the hard things enough, even though there was doubt. Or at a certain point, there were many points like this, but like I remember one point clearly where just something kind of clicked in my head. It was almost like just a moment where I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I am gonna crush this. Nothing's gonna stop me. It was actually after having a very intense emotional conversation with a friend about what I was doing, and obviously, and he was not very supportive. But then after that, you know, from a mindset standpoint, no one could sway me. But I didn't start there. It was that's what transformation means. You are transforming. And then there was like there's different levels too to that. It's like nothing's gonna stop me, but then once you even achieve, you know, whatever level of success you were shooting for, now you have to elevate as well. So always keep pushing. That's what it means to push beyond your comfort zone.
Mhm.
It's not, it's do the things that your six-figure inner self would do. Or what would you do, or what decisions would you make if you knew you couldn't fail?
Mhm.
And when you start doing those things, when you start taking those risks, when you start betting on yourself, that's when things start shifting. So your mindset's not going to change until you start behaving differently.
So we could ask, what would Fernie do?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Fine.
but more so, what
Around
would
this.
if I was, you know, if I couldn't fail and it's only a matter of time, guaranteed that I'm going to be six-figure earner, what what decisions would I make differently right now?
Oh my gosh, that's a great lead in for my
You know,
second
who
question.
yeah, because you know, the and so that's, you know, when I invested in my mentor, who was a seven-figure earner, and his mentorship program was $60,000. I didn't have $60,000. I had a credit card that had $8,000 available balance, but when that opportunity came up, it was on a webinar, and nothing like that had ever existed, where you can be a part of a mentoring program. I remember asking the question, not should I. I wasn't like, should I? Can I afford this? I was asking, okay, how do I do this? I was in a resourceful mindset where I was like, okay, how am I going to make this happen?
Mhm.
And I was like looking for, how do I make this happen? And ultimately, you know, I asked, can I go on a payment plan? $5,000 a month for 12 months. And I hustled and worked my ass off to be able to pay down that credit card every month so that I can make the next payment, the next payment, and the next payment, and the next payment, until the ninth month, where I had that $700,000 month. And so it's so that's an example of like, I knew I was going to get there. Like, I was willing to bet the farm and take extraordinary risk, but that extraordinary risk wasn't just for risk's sake. At that point, I had such confidence in that I was going to make it happen no matter what, that this was going to have a return and then some, that I no longer asked the questions, can I afford this? Should I? Is this responsible? I was just like, how?
Mhm.
How do I do that? You know, and so I'm not a mindset coach. I'm just sharing my mindset, like the lessons I've taken away from a mindset standpoint. And I think that's it. That's the biggest shift for me. I forgot the other thing I was going to mention, but I think that was probably the most important for me, and for you guys,
Mm.
is what would your six-figure, seven-figure self do differently from what you're currently doing right now?
That's beautiful. Thank you. What a great question. What a great answer to that question. And I think it kind of leads into my next one, which, you know, pales, I'm sure. I identify as a recovering perfectionist, and I have like, I'm on my Google sheet. I've got like 5 or 6 different target market statements, and I'm one of those ones who I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this, and I do great in all of them. And I'm still feeling like I've got to get the one right and do it right the first time because I'm not going to be able to change this. And I'm thinking there's probably a fallacy in that. How many times do you change your target market statement before it sticks? Or do you really just put a lot of energy into it and make sure that this is the right one before you go?
Well, I don't operate in a realm of right or wrong. I operate in a realm of what works.
Okay.
And so right or wrong keeps us stuck. The only place that might serve you is in from a moral or spiritual perspective. Even then, it can get in your way. But right or wrong does not help you in business because there are multiple ways to get something to work.
Mhm.
And so getting something to work does not mean it has to be perfect. Getting something to work actually means taking the first step. Taking the first step works. Putting something out there and failing works because you learn something from it. And as long as and business is very much something where you have to iterate a lot. You have to do something over and over again and try different things until you get it to work. And how you get it to work might be slightly different from what another person does to get it to work. Your target market statement might be a little different from somebody else's target market statement, even in the same company with the same product. And so don't focus on trying to get it right. Just put something out there, and run it and see how it works. That is also the best way you're going to learn. You can't. It'd be like me saying I'm going to become a world-class engineer by just studying all these textbooks, but never going in the lab and building anything. It's like you have to get your hands dirty. You have to actually test out theories and ideas, and even what you're learning, you have to put it out there. And the cool thing about people think that the internet, when you put something out there, that it's there forever and that people are going to remember. No, it's the opposite. People forget. The people will not remember what you posted, even if they think it's silly, even if they laugh. If you do a post and they laugh, what an idiot. They're not going to remember that you posted that a week later. They're not going to remember that definitely not a month later, a year later, etc. You're going to remember it. You're going to learn from it, but everyone else won't. I'll give you a perfect example. There was a social network that I became a big influencer on. It's not around anymore. It was called Better Networker, and it was a social network mainly for home business owners. And back then, it was mostly written content. That was the deal. It wasn't like video content. So I wrote articles on there, and it kind of worked a lot like TikTok. But imagine TikTok with articles, where you published articles like content, written content, lessons, and that's how you added value to the community, and the quality of the content was determined by how people responded, and if people liked it, it got pushed up and shown to more people, and then they liked it, it got pushed up and shown to more people. And the way they did that was through the homepage. The homepage had different sections where popular articles, new articles, and something in between, something like interesting articles that are hot or something, I forget. So anyway, the site had all this traffic, and then people would go to the homepage and they'd see, oh, something new, and they click on it, and if they liked it, then they interacted with it, and the more people interacted with it, the more it got put on a different feed that was called hot content, and then the more people interacted there, if they saw it and were interested and liked it, then it got featured and pushed into our hottest content this month or something like that. So it kept getting elevated based on how people responded and reacted to it. So I did really well with written content on this social network, and I built basically a 6-figure business from that alone. But there was a person that was pretty new to social media that figured out that if they published 10 or 20 articles a day, they can basically blanket the homepage with only their content, and basically spamming the thing. And so the owners of the platform, who are my mentors, they created something called the Eric Worre rule, because the spammer was this gentleman named Eric Worre. And so Eric Worre was a social media spammer, and he was new to social media, and he was posting all his content. I was like, what the frick is, like, I worked on one article for an entire week to make it pristine, and he posted a bunch of crappy articles that were like 5 paragraphs, but he was like, he'd post 20 a day. So ultimately, the platform restricted people from publishing multiple articles in a day, only one article a day. And even then, he was still publishing like at least one a day. There was always at least one Eric Worre article, no matter how good or terrible it was. There was always one there. And so he actually at that point was known like this Eric Worre spammer. So, but no one but me remembers that. Now he's like a monster influencer, has mastered social media, and obviously has crushed it. Like, social media has been one of the key tools that he's used to create his influence and following and notoriety in the network marketing space. But no one remembers that except me.
I've never heard that story. That's brilliant. The Eric Worre rule. Before Eric Worre was actually Eric
The Eric
Worre.
Worre rule was an anti-spam rule on the Better Networker platform. And I was part of that conversation, is how do we stop this Eric Worre guy from like spamming the feed? Like, it's like not adding value. His articles suck, you know. so anyway, so I share that story just to, like, you know, the only people that remember are like my mentors and maybe some of the people that were around back then. But I mean, I guarantee no one holds it against him now, you know. So my point to you is just pick one, run with it, and be okay with making mistakes. Perfectionism is not going to serve you at all whatsoever. Perfectionism is gonna keep you stuck, because there's no such thing as perfect.
And I should know better. I'm a system engineer, so it's all about testing and stuff. So I should know that. But yeah, well, thank you. And I really like you, even if you did go to my arch rival college. I went to UCLA. So
Well, I went to USC grad school.
I know. So it's like, oh, we went to USC. So anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Allie.
Of course, Cynthia. All right, Robert. I know some of you have to leave at the top of the hour, so you can just exit quietly if you want. We'll maybe stay on a couple extra minutes. Robert, go ahead.
Couple questions. By the way, thanks so much, Ferny. I've known Allie for years. I'm just so excited for her and her journey, and thank you for who you are. Let's see. My question is, I have a couple questions. My first one is, I getting very clear on it. You know, have become very clear on my target market strategy. And my question is, if you had I'm rebranding. I'm going to run on TikTok and Instagram at the same time, launching that in about 4 days. And my simple question is if you were doing something similar, would you just run it yourself with a very, very specific niche? I have a group of, say, 3 or 4 core leaders who are very open to grab the same niche and do their personality expression of it. Or would you coach them and suggest they go in kind of 5 different directions? Or have you seen some other successful leaders pick a given strategy and run with it like 30, 60, 90 days as a group? You understand my question, Ferny?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the question is, if you have a group of leaders you're working with on a social media strategy, do you all kind of go with different niches, or kind of have more of a unified approach and work from the same niche? And so the answer is, I recommend being more unified and working in the same niche, because one, the most successful teams that I've seen who have grown on social media, by and large, for the most part, there are a few exceptions, but for the most part, they all operate with the same niche. It's mainly the leader that is defining the niche that the group is operating in, and then everybody else They don't have to rack their brain on what's my target market. It's here it is. It's given to them. It's assumed what the target market's going to be. They don't even have to come up with a target market statement because they're all working off the same sheet of music. They're all unified. It creates way more leverage because when you have a bunch of people operating the same target market and they're posting different things, different social media posts, different reels, and one of them takes off, one of those reels goes viral, well, then you can look at what was the reason this post went viral, what was different about their post, and then everybody else in the team can do something similar. Now they can model that success in the same market, and then those people can go viral, and then so you start, yeah, as a leader you start going, oh well, this is going viral, I'll make a note of that. This one's going viral, I'll make a note of that. This one got a lot of conversation started, let me make a note of that. All of a sudden, as a leader, you start collecting all these ultra successful social media posts that either resulted in a lot of views, a lot of engagement, a lot of conversations, or even a lot of customers. And you're collecting these different posts, and they become part of a library of posts that you can then give some of your newest team members and template them and go, hey, here's a 30-day social media strategy you can deploy, monkey see, monkey do. Here's an example of the post. Here's how you fill in the blank template that you can use to implement this yourself. The only thing you got to do is this. And now all your newest team members, as a result of all that experimenting, are running with something that's already proven to work as opposed to starting from scratch. And that only happens when you're all unified.
Well, yeah, that was a huge affirmation to that. And Allie's obviously been a tremendous help. Thank you for walking that path for a moment there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ferny. I guess another question real quick. I know others have questions. So it's a simple one. I've been leading what's called a servant leader chat twice a week for like 2.5 years. I have a ton of content there, obviously some recordings and also notes, links, etc. And knowing I'm running with a product focused niche, obviously, as I just described, I guess my question is, if you had that much content and it's more faith-based servant leadership, but very all targeted or built around network marketing entrepreneurs, how would you tend, without taking away all my energy from what I'm doing here with this core leadership, which is my primary, if you had a secondary focus with all that content, how would you package that if it were you in a very succinct way? You understand my question?
What do you mean? How would you package that?
What would be one of the simplest ways to use that as to attract leads who are faith-based entrepreneurs, network marketers? How would you just do the same research, the pre-work as I've already done with my health niche for that, and just do a very similar journey as I'm already doing with the health?
Well, I mean, if you already have a following of people in whatever niche that are getting value from you, that are learning from you, that are inspired by you, and I mean, if they're active, in other words, if that's an audience that's growing and they're interactive and they're engaging with your content, and they know you. In other words, if they saw a post in their feed, and they go, oh, there's Robert again. If they have that type of response to you, then you at any point can invite them to whatever you'd like to invite them to. So because the most important thing you have with them is you have that relationship and trust. So if you want to invite them, if any of the invite them to take a look at working with you on your team, like if they're open to learning how to build an online business using social media and they'd like to partner with you and they're open to exploring that, then you can put out a post that makes that invitation, and then they have to open the door. And the way they open the door, or the way we teach our students, is to create some sort of registration or something they have to opt into
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
order to request that information. So it could be they message you. It could be you invite them and they say yes, I'm interested, and then you add them to a group. It could be they actually fill out an actual like form, like like a funnel, where they give their name, email, and phone number, and then that unlocks the information. And so I would do it that way, but that only works if there's already an established relationship and trust.
Thank you, Ferny. And that only works too when I have that on. I've built traditional face-to-face, belly-to-belly, and I've been quite successful throughout the years. But again, I'm making an about face, and hey, I'm embracing attraction marketing. So that was why I asked that question. So
yeah, and then once they request, then how you present to them can vary. But it has to be in a way where they have to request before they see the pitch. You can't just post a pitch and say, kind of like what a lot of network marketers do is they just kind of post whatever they're doing, the business about, they kind of throw up on everybody. And what that will do is destroy your trust with that community, because you're not respecting the sanctity of the reason that community exists to begin with, which is not about pitching your opportunity. It was about serving them in the context of faith, entrepreneurship, giving them tips and ideas for their business. But inviting somebody to take a look at something, and the only people that see what's on the other side are those that go, yeah, I'm interested. And everybody else who's not interested, who's satisfied with where they're at and what they're doing, basically won't even remember that you made an invitation. And that's how you protect the community that you built.
I love that. Thank you.
And Robert, let me add one thing. When you and your leaders have one target market and you're bringing in customers because of that target market, and then they decide to become builders, it makes a lot of sense because they were already in that target market.
Yeah, heavens yes. And that's the beauty of that. And so excited to launch that with my core team. So thank you, Ali.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Ferny, are you okay to stay a little bit if there's some more questions? What's your time? Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, just the FBI is watching.
It is watching. It's always watching. Doesn't even scathe me anymore. I'm like, oh, Ferny's here. Now, remember, guys, that when you log into your attractionmarketing.com account where you access the book and where you access the course, the link to schedule a call with one of Ferny's specialists is right there. Okay. So if you want to have an open conversation, it's not a sales call. They're not salesy. They're incredible human beings. What they'll do is they'll look at your goals and they'll see if attraction marketing is a good fit for your goals.
They actually can't even pitch you anything. It's more of a let's see if we're a fit, and if they think we can help you, then they'll give you next steps on how you might learn more about our courses and what we do, and they'll give you some stuff to study. And Ali, there's a link that I just posted where if they wanted to book that call, if they haven't had that call already, they could use that link to book that call.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys, ask away. Whatever is burning, please ask.
I just got to say, Ali, this is pretty cool. Like what you've created, this community. I know you call it a book club, but it seems like much more than just a book club. You guys are exchanging ideas, and just the little that I've heard, I don't know of anyone that's doing this, which is pretty cool. This is awesome.
I think we're the first, and it's been really cool, because what's the most powerful, I think, the training Mondays is great because we do cover the book and I do a little basic training, but it's the office hours later in the week that I think most of well, you guys can tell me, that have been super powerful to get that one-on-one. And it's a real group think. Last week we were on for 2 hours. At the 90-minute mark, I was like, all right, my brain is mush. Come on, guys, help me, because I got nothing. But it's been really powerful.
Well, to the personal coaching without like all kinds of next steps for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just really, really awesome. I look forward to seeing what future book clubs look like, and just know, the book that you're reviewing is just one slice of what we teach and what we do, and some people never do what is actually in that book. It's one approach, and it could be a very controversial approach if the person misunderstands it, which is usually the reason we don't like it's the last thing in the AMF course. Like the course has a lot of different modules, and that's the last one. It's the last one because at least there's a foundation that you're building off of, and that last strategy is just something that no one teaches yet almost every top leader is doing. The whole idea of personal branding and branding themselves in the network marketing space, usually you think, well, I need to be a top leader to do that, and that that training kind of flips that idea on its head. And to so many of our students, countless, that have created a brand in the network marketing space before they had a single team member on their team. And so it's like you kind of create that unfair advantage, whether somebody joins you or not. And so that's the strategy I used to build. That was the only version of attraction marketing that existed when I started. Now it comes in so many different forms, where you can do it on social media, you can lead with retail customers for your product, but it's actually the same idea if you think about it. When you're generating customers on social media and attracting a following that might become customers, what you're doing is you're getting people to pay you to grow your warm market of followers and customers. So you're creating your own warm market outside of your friends and family. It's a new warm market of people that know, like, and trust you. Some of them are becoming customers and paying you before joining your team. And so in a way, they're paying you to become your prospects. You want to think about it that way. So now you've created a retail business.
Oh,
And then those people who've paid you to become your prospects, they get to know you, they like you, they trust you, they get to know the product, they get results from the product, they like the product, therefore they like the company. And then the last thing, so when you actually invite them to take a look at the business, all the dominoes have fallen. The only one left to knock over is the one as to whether they think they can do this or not.
mhm. And if you have a system set up,
yeah.
like the one, Robert, we were just talking about, you're in.
Yeah, so it's the exact same concept, except you guys with social media, you're building a following of people, let's say in a certain health niche or niche related to your product. Well, what that book is talking about is about creating a following and a network of other network marketers, but you're offering something that is training that they're actually looking for. You guys all bought AMF from Allie because you were seeking training on how to build your business. And she was building this network, and Allie, we don't know, no one knows what's going to happen with any of your businesses. Should you ever need to look for a new company, a new home, company gets shut down, your CEO goes to jail, your upline becomes a total jerk, something unethical happens. Like, I surveyed, along with my friend Rob Sperry, we surveyed a group of 6-figure earners or higher that he has, and the survey was basically asking, how many of you are with your original company? So how many of you top earners are with your original company? Only 40% of those people that responded were with their original company. 60% were with a second, third, fourth, or fifth company, etc. So that tells me that even the most successful people in network marketing have to make a switch or move at some point. So if you're able to build relationships with other network marketers and they need a home, they're going to first go to the people they trust to go, hey, Allie, things are not right where I'm at. I'm looking for a new home. What do you do? What company are you in? Can you tell me more about that? And they may not join your company, but at least they give you an opportunity to ask or to answer that question, or otherwise they would not, because you didn't have that relationship. So like, I laugh when when, you know, a company goes out of business and distributors are like left in the lurch, and then all of a sudden you have all these people on social media trying to recruit all these orphans from this company, and they're like, oh yeah, you need to go after beauty counter distributors because they just lost their income, and so you go try to recruit them, go hit them up, go message them, whatever. It's like that doesn't work because there's no relationship.
Mhm.
Like if you built the relationship before, should any like that ever happen, hopefully it never happens, but it's inevitable that it's going to happen to somebody when you have that network and people, and you've done things like what Ali is doing here, just adding value, giving without want. um Eventually it comes back to you in unexpected ways and in very serendipitous ways, and it's completely authentic because you actually don't know who is going to come back to you. And some of the biggest leaders in the world, that's primary strategy for building, is they just connect and engage with as many people in the space as possible, build relationships, add value, tell them what they're doing, how they solve certain problems, give coaching, and then it ultimately comes back to them when somebody's looking for a new home. And it's just a conversation that rarely is had publicly. We just have that conversation publicly, and but it can be one that's misunderstood.
Bernie, I
Yeah.
wanted to add in here quickly, just a second. I'm loving the course that Ali has created, and thank you for the work that you've done, because it's really been incredibly useful and so outside of my comfort zone that you cannot even begin to imagine.
Yeah.
I'm fantastic at my job, and I kind of thought that I was really useless at this part of it, and I've had to kind of reskill myself in a completely different direction and a whole lot of certain skills. And Ali gave us a task at the end of last week to go and spy on other different places. What is it called, Ali? Where did I have to go?
Groups. You had to go into different groups and just have a look.
I had to go in different groups. So and she told us not to say anything, and of course I couldn't keep my mouth shut, so I made comments everywhere I went. And the one comment actually landed up somebody messaging me and saying, well, I'm interested in what you just said. And so I said, okay, well, here's a link. You can send a chat. So I chatted to her this morning, which was really quite interesting. But I want to come back to that in 1 second. I want to pin that for a moment, because in the interim, Ali also gave us this homework that we had to fill in these charts about, our target market and the problems and all of that sort of thing. And one of the things that Ali told us we had to do was tap into our own emotional journey that we had been on, because I kept feeling like I couldn't relate to what people were saying. Other people had stories that they could relate to, and I was struggling. And then suddenly I realized, no, actually I could go into a story that I could actually have. And when I went back into that kind of opened up all the possibilities of what I actually needed to know and needed to look at. And it reignited why I do what I do and where I went to. And so coming back to this chat that I had this morning, I used all of that I had just uncovered in this morning's call. And it wasn't a sales call. It was, who are you? How can I help you? And it was about her child. And then it was about her second child and her third child. She's got 7 children.
Wow.
And suddenly we're talking about all 7 children, although the call was about 1 child. And so it was such an interesting journey to go on, but it was because we kind of started to unpeel and uncover, and this journey that we've been on, it's really an interesting, and because I kept feeling like I was stuck, and I kept going, hey, help, I'm stuck, I need someone to help me. And so it was an interesting experience how to kind of get through that
That's awesome.
journey.
That's fantastic. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sexy things about attraction marketing and automation and systems and all that stuff. But ultimately, it's still a people business, and it's about knowing how to connect authentically with people and not operating with hidden agendas. And that's how come the first question I had on this call about, like, hey, what do I do when they comment I was like, ask a question, get to know them. Like, it's really as simple as that. That's because that all we're trying to do is model an authentic conversation the way we would normally operate with other human beings that we're trying to help. You know, when when a friend comes to us with a problem, well, we ask them, what's the problem? We ask them questions. And then if we have a way of helping them, we'll make a recommendation. Or if we don't, we'll say, well, maybe you should talk to this person. That structure, which we naturally follow in an authentic way with our friends, is essentially what we're trying to do, follow with people who we're interacting with on social media, who are our target market. If you follow that model, then people don't feel like they're being sold to. They don't feel like any awkwardness. And that's the problem with more traditional strategies that are very deceptive and that kind of like are not transparent. And the reason people feel resistance towards making a list of 100 friends and family, or sending a bunch of copy paste messages to their friends and family, or cold messaging strangers in social media, all these icky things that don't feel right about network marketing, is because that's not how we authentically operate. So
Yeah.
attraction marketing is about modeling how we authentically operate, and tapping into that part of our human psychology so that it doesn't feel weird, and it's not weird.
Yeah, it's huge. It really is amazing. Thank you.
And I'm super proud of you, Nolene, because that's the point when most people give up. When they don't want to sit in the stuck, they don't want to battle, right? And you didn't give up. You worked through it, and you
Mhm.
kept showing up, and you kept doing the work, and you kept fighting through the struggle.
Mhm.
And that's the resilience that successful online marketers must develop, right? Just like going back to Cindy and her perfectionism. If the first target market statement doesn't pan out, is she going to give up? No, she's going to go back to the next one, right? She's going to have that resilience. And to Ferny's point, that's much better and easier done in community, where you have people rooting for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I'm super proud of you. Peel back that onion, girlfriend. Keep going. Keep peeling.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Steph, Ginny, any questions before we wrap up? You're good, Steph? Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you
Ferny,
for your time.
Well-
It's so appreciated.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Ali, thank you so much for inviting me. This was fun.
thank you for coming on.
right.
I really, this opportunity is second to none. And so I'm glad that everyone came out, and of course I'll be sending the recording to those who couldn't come. And so I just want to thank you for your time and expertise, Ferny. Like, I would not be anywhere near where I am today without you and your programs and your mentors and this community that you have created. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a
All
great
right,
night.
guys.
Take care.
Cheers.